and welcome to another mobile edition of Crime Time with DutyRon. Guys, we are retired New York City police detectives, Ed Wallace and I, with 20 plus years of law enforcement. If you like all things true crime related from a police perspective, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, so you'll get all things DutyRon and Ed Wallace when we go live or upload another video. And today I want to talk to you about three very important cases that we have been covering, continuously here on Crime Time with DutyRon. Summer Wells, as we know, yesterday was the 1 year mark of when her parents reported her missing. Gonzalo Lopez and Dylan Rounds. Those are three cases that are very important. And I wanted to just say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, and all the folks who positively engage in all of these live chats. I greatly appreciate each one of you, and I thank you for being patient. Today I had a couple of things pop up last minute. I'm at the office, so a few of my colleagues were asking questions of me. So I had the live stream scheduled, and I had to kind of business comes first. So good to see everybody. Jackie, thank you for joining. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Stacy. Karen, good to see you. Lauren, Mackenzie, Stephanie, Cat Lover, Susanna, Marie, Sherilyn Schofner, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to the mod squad. I got some of the greatest mods and subscribers on YouTube, arguably so. All right, so let's get that out of the way. Yesterday was the 1 year mark. I don't call it an anniversary. I don't like to call it anything. It's a significant date, and it's a date that hurts me in the heart. It hurts all of us in the heart because after 1 year, June 15th of 2021, I was on vacation in Aruba when this story broke, and I was on a balcony talking about Natalie Holloway, a missing person from Aruba, a young girl, 18 years old, who went missing from Aruba. I was on the balcony in Aruba talking live to you guys about Natalie Holloway, and the Summer Wells case broke. And I'll never forget it because between last year and now, we've done so much to get her name out there, to positively speak about her. Stephanie, thank you for the super chat. Talk positively about Summer Wells and cover the case with respect, dignity, and honor. We respect and honor this now 6-year-old, would have been 6-year-old little girl. I call her a baby, missing. We don't know what happened to her. 1 whole year, 366 days to the minute here. We still don't know what happened to Summer Wells. And we're no closer, according to Ronnie Lawson and the TBI spokeswoman, we're no closer to where we were 1 year ago. But we know this. EquiSearch Midwest has searched high and low for this girl. They've gone out there, Twyla, Dave, and all of the volunteers that are involved in EquiSearch Midwest, and all of the volunteers who came out there and searched during the course of this 366 days. They're to be commended. Those are the heroes here. Okay, so all of the speculation of who did it, who is involved, and things of that nature. EquiSearch Midwest was out there with one goal, not to solve the case. The one goal was to bring home the missing. Lost is not alone. So I'm proud and I'm happy and I'm honored to be a part of EquiSearch Midwest. They are now searching for Dylan Rounds in Utah and Nevada. They're on the ground. The drone pilots are out there taking images, doing God's work, as we say. So they were out there all day yesterday for over 7-8 hours, and they're out there, I believe, again today. They're working along with the sheriffs and the law enforcement local on the ground, and there is quite a bit of activity going on. We have nothing new to report because all of the data from Dylan Rounds and all the searching that's going on behind the scenes is it's all being run through that locate program. So that brings me to my next point. Sana Elise Holt Johnson, thank you for the super sticker. I love those emojis with the coffee. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you. Um, so here we are, folks. Again, I want to say this. You know, here on Crime Time with DutyRon, as you guys know, we are all about positivity, respect, and we're not. This is not a like pile on bully community. We like to report on the facts and talk about what's important. And what's important is the missing, and to get their cases highlighted and get things out there that are important. I had Dylan Round's mom, Candace. She came on, Candace Cooley. She came on and spoke very strongly about everything when it comes to her son's case. And I commend this woman because this is, as Ed Wallace said, a prime example of how a parent should be acting when their child, whether it's a boy or a girl, when their child is missing, you are the most important advocate for your son or daughter. And she's shouting from the rooftops with her loudspeaker and saying what needs to be said. Sean B, great to see you. Thank you for joining. Cat Lover, thank you for the super love. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the support that comes in here. I sent over to Dylan Round's mom, Candace. Somebody sent me a PayPal for $200, so I sent her the PayPal of $200, and today I'm going to send her about 300 extra dollars. So it's a total of 500 US dollars that we sent over for the search of Dylan Rounds to help his mom with with finances. She could buy water for the searchers. She could buy food. She could buy whatever she wants with that $500. But it's because of users like you who are kind and are willing to support somebody when they're doing things like that, when they're out there searching for their child. She has her son who's 19 years old, and she does not know what happened to him. Trevor Lee, great to see you. Thank you for joining, Trev. Hello, Julie. Donnie, always a pleasure to see you. So 500 US currency, $500 out to Candace Cooley to use as she needs to use. But that is also us as a community here, Crime Time with DutyRon, supporting her on her mission to find out what happened to her son. So yes, Lost is not alone. I want to talk to you again about Gonzalo Lopez. So these are uh, before we go to Gonzalo Lopez, let's talk about Harmony Montgomery, because Harmony Montgomery, True Crime with Shannon, thank you. You are awesome too. Harmony Montgomery, Eddie, good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining. Harmony Montgomery, we had a lot of things happening in the last 2 days over in Manchester, New Hampshire. By a show of hands, MMM remembers the Aruba balcony broadcast. By a show of hands, who has been following the Harmony Montgomery case? I covered it with Ed Wallace 2 days ago. That was one of the breaking stories on Crime Time with DutyRon. We had FBI, the U.S. Marshals, the local police at that home in Manchester, New Hampshire. It's a multi-dwelling building, right? They evacuated the building. Now, when I say evacuate, it wasn't an emergency. They took everybody out of the building the night before. They went in there. It was a massive show of personnel on the scene, right, Jackie? Tara was there. Tara saw it. Julie, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. So with Harmony Montgomery, we thought, and everybody was looking at it, and we were like, this has got to be something very significant. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of information on what they recovered, but we do have a lot of what we see. Ralph, thank you. You're amazing for being here. Thank you to all the live chatters. But what we do have, and what we do see, is that a lot of evidentiary items, a lot of pieces, a lot of items of evidence, and however you want to slice it. North Florida, Gary, yeah, you're here, brother. I see you, man. You're always here. Thank you for being here, Gary. Um, what we saw was a lot of evidence being removed. We have a refrigerator, a full-size refrigerator taken out of there, and one can speculate why they took that refrigerator out of there. Our minds can go and wander on that. But at the end of the day, there was pieces of floorboards removed. There was pieces of uh, drywall and things of that nature. So it is what it is. We don't have access to the case file. So at this time, it is just our minds saying, well, what could that be? Ed Wallace and I spoke about it off of the live stream. We spoke about potential for blood stain, again, or bodily fluids of any type in those items that they took out. Hence, if you have somebody, and I'm not saying that this is what happened, but if you have somebody who's sitting or standing and they get shot or they get, something happens traumatic to them and fluids come out of outside of their body and it goes on the wall and someone cleans it off, right? Oh, let me clean this off and let me put a fresh coat of paint on there. Those There is a process that can be used to extract from within that panel, within the sheetrock, and there's a process to get back evidence from there, even years later. So that's what we have going on in Harmony Montgomery's case. There is a lot of evidence. They spent a good solid day there. They spent a good solid day at that location. So it is what it is. So here we are. Hold on a second. Stand by. I'm just doing something. Let me just do a little bit of housekeeping quickly because I think I missed a message. Hold on a second. Just want to do this, and then we're going to move on to talk about Gonzalo Lopez. We're going to talk about Gonzalo Lopez in a few minutes. All right. I guess I missed it. So Harmony Montgomery, we again 2 times. This is our second time, right? She wasn't reported missing until after almost 2 years, Heather. Um, but this is a second time. Remember the search at the first home that they stayed in, Adam Montgomery, Kayla Montgomery, and poor Harmony Montgomery? They had the backyard thawing out. It was wintertime and they were thawing out the backyard. The FBI was there. It was another huge operation. So this is a second letdown for us, but let's not chalk it up as a letdown. Let's chalk it up as a lot of evidence that was recovered that we don't really know about, that they can't speak to us about that evidence, um, that we can't speak to on that evidence. But at the end of the day, that evidence could be very, very important going forward when it comes to prosecution time for Harmony Montgomery. Remember our boys, uh, Orrin and Orson West. Remember our boys? They were again reported missing in California City, Bakersfield. It took almost 14 months for them to make an arrest, right? It took 14 months for them to make an arrest. And you know what? My thing was is that everybody and anybody were talking about Bakersfield Police Department not doing their job, and that they don't want to make an arrest on the situation. They don't want um, they don't want to see a resolve to the case. But that was the furthest from the truth. Bakersfield and other branches of law enforcement were working hard behind the scenes, right? Folks, let me say this. Let's just get this out of the way. If there's comments in the chat that are less than desirable, let our moderators take care of it. And for our live chatters, please don't give them recognition. Don't make mention of it. That's just how we do it here. They just let them get eliminated. Don't give them what they want to have, and that's attention. Let's just keep it. Let's just keep it moving and just forget about the comments. When the comments are there, that's what we have the moderators for. Just do not give them acknowledgement. When you give them acknowledgement, that's exactly what they're seeking. So just do me a favor and just ignore it, please. I got the best mods on YouTube. They're here to do it. So let's rock and roll and go forward with what we're talking about. So Harmony Montgomery, although we might not feel like we got any resolve or any any further with the case, a lot of evidence. Ed Wallace and I were very impressed with the amount of evidence that we witnessed for over 45 minutes. There was the aerial helicopter shot that we were showing. The amount of evidence that they were taking out of that location was encouraging for us as retired investigators. Ed Wallace is a crime scene and DNA expert, and he was very happy to see what was happening with Harmony Montgomery just 2 days ago. So that, again, that could be frustrating when you see it here and there's a press conference and they say we're not, we have not recovered her. You know, uh, again, a recovery is what, I think one of the eyewitnesses, that not eyewitnesses, but one of the people that they interviewed on the scene there, she said that she was searching for Harmony on a regular basis. She said, we're excited, but we're not excited about them finding her not alive, but we are excited about getting justice for her and bringing her home and having a proper burial. So that's like one of the things that is like it's like you're torn. It's the same thing with Summer Wells and all of these cases. We want her recovered. We want to find her. In our minds we say we want to find her alive, but 366 days have gone by, and we know that the probability of that is very low. Uh, McKid Doof, I know I'm messing that up. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you, DutyRon, for all that you do to help victims and their families. And I saw you in the chat. You were saying stuff in the chat. Like saying, "Hey, do you see me?" Yes. It's just that I like to try to stay on topic and focus. So if I'm constantly saying hello to people and acknowledging people in the chat, it kind of throws off my train of thought. But thank you for that super chat. It's always greatly appreciated. Again, if I spent the whole time during the live acknowledging everybody in the chat, it would just screw up the continuity of everything. All right, let's move on. I want to talk to you about Gonzalo Lopez, because Gonzalo Lopez, as we know, that is the prisoner who escaped off the prison bus in Centerville, Texas, Leon County. I'm not done with that case because there's still justice that needs to be served for the Collins family. The Collins family, as we know, were murdered on June 6th by Gonzalo Lopez, 3 weeks to the day when he escaped out of that prison bus. TDCJ has dismissed the Tieperman family, has never spoken with Melanie Tieperman and Robert Tieperman. That's her husband. He's a doctor, chiropractic doctor. They were the folks who witnessed Gonzalo Lopez leaving the bus right out of the gate, live. When that bus came to a halt, Melanie and her son saw Gonzalo Lopez exiting that bus, and they recorded him running across the field, contradicting the statement of TDCJ. They said, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice said that their officers ran a mile from the original location where the bus went off the road and shot it out with Gonzalo Lopez as he went across the field. And we know that to be not true. That is an outright falsehood lie. TDCJ outright lied to the general public, and Melanie Tieperman has it on video. At no time did any correctional officers fire shots at Gonzalo Lopez where that bus was stopped. They may have fired shots back in the original spot at the back of the tires of the bus, but they said, as Gonzalo Lopez, as per their statement, when Gonzalo Lopez was exiting that prison bus and running across the field, correction officer number 1 and correction officer number 2 fired shots at him. That's per their statement. And Melanie Tieperman's video shows that that is not the truth. She hung around in that at that location, and her son filmed as they went past, and she watched that Jewish police officer just watch him walk and run through that field and go out and hold himself up in someone's house for 3 weeks. He was on the run after that day for 3 weeks to the day, and he murdered a family. 5 people were murdered. Mark Collins, 66, Waylon Collins, 18, Carson Collins, 16, Hudson Collins, 11, and Bryson Collins, 11 years old. 3 boys, in total 4, 3 brothers and 1 cousin. That is despicable, disgraceful, and horrific and disgusting. TDCJ to this day has not taken accountability for their missteps. How do you let a family of 5 become brutally murdered? We've now come to find out that they were stabbed and shot. All of them. It breaks my heart because days before this horrific June 2nd date, where the Collins family were murdered and slaughtered, 2 days or 3, 2 or 3 days prior to that, the TDCJ had knowledge that somebody broke into a home just 300 yards from the Collins family ranch. And they had notified nobody in Centerville. They did not notify anybody. They chose to wait and process the DNA from inside that home. And the DNA came back, and it was too late. The DNA came back, and the Collins family was already murdered. That's despicable, that's disgusting, that's disgraceful, and somebody has to pay. The blood of the Collins family is on the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And everybody and anybody who was involved in that should be fired and brought up on criminal charges. Because what they did was a complete and utter failure to public safety, to the great state of Texas and the people of Texas, the Texans, and all of America. Let me say it again for the people in the back. What TDCJ did, what they effectively did, and they had a treasure trove of information from the beginning, from day one. Melanie Tieperman provided them with a video of Gonzalo Lopez running through the field. The house, the ranch that the Collins family was murdered in was 4,000 feet from the command post. The house, let me say it again, Gonzalo Lopez was in the house, the ranch home of the Collins family. It was 4,000 feet away from the command post. He was able to hold himself up for 3 whole weeks. 3 weeks he was on the run. But days before that fateful day on June 2nd, days before June 2nd, they knew that somebody broke into one of the homes adjacent and close to the Collins ranch, and they failed to notify anybody in the state of, in the county of Leon County, in the town of Centerville. They could have notified every resident in Centerville, lock your doors, keep your firearms close, keep your eyes open. There's somebody breaking in, and we think it's Gonzalo Lopez. Nobody would find fault in them for guessing that that was Gonzalo Lopez because nobody else is breaking into homes over there. Look at the crime stats. I looked at the crime stats in Centerville. No houses are being broken into. I looked at the crime stats in Centerville. There are no homes that are being broken into. Isn't it funny that 3 weeks prior, you have Gonzalo Lopez, a convicted capital murderer? He killed somebody with a pickaxe and shot at a freaking sheriff. He's on the loose, and homes are starting to get broken into. Get your head out of your ass, TDCJ, and put 2 and 2 together and notify the people of Centerville, because the Collins family, the 5 members of the Collins family, including obviously the grandfather who brought those boys there, would have never gone to that ranch home from Houston, Texas. They drove from Houston to Centerville. You think that grandfather is going to drive his boys, his grandsons, to Centerville knowing that there's a convicted murderer, someone who killed someone with a pickaxe? Get the fuck out of here. I'm telling you right now, Senator Whitmire, who's a Democrat, a Democratic senator, and a great guy, Senator Whitmire wrote a letter off to the governor of the state of Texas, to Governor Abbott's office. The lieutenant governor of the state of Texas wrote a long letter to the TDCJ, and he demanded a complete and utter he demanded a complete accountability from TDCJ of what happened. Who is responsible for searching Gonzalo Lopez? Who is responsible for shackling him up and handcuffing him? How did he get into that compartment? The lieutenant governor, that's the second in charge of the state of Texas, has asked for a full and comprehensive review, and heads should roll. If people aren't fired, at least at the bare minimum fired, and not brought up on charges, there's something very wrong with the state of Texas. There's something wrong in America. If there was not at the very least people getting fired. People should be getting fired. Forget about explaining. I'm talking so much that I need to take a sip of water. Hold on a second. I just want to. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. So this is the article that I wanted. All right. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, that's his name for the state of Texas. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick wants to investigate Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick said this crime was preventable and should have never happened. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is demanding answers from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice on how escapee Gonzalo Lopez escaped. He is asking for a full and thorough investigation to begin on the TDCJ. Kudos to you. Patrick sent a letter to the Texas Rangers asking them to question TDCJ's procedures the day Lopez escaped. Gonzalo Lopez murdered a family of 5, Mark Collins and his 4 grandsons, while hiding out inside their family ranch. The TDCJ has already announced and made effective immediately changes to their protocol on moving dangerous criminals. They will now have three, after 5 people have been murdered, 3 prison personnel in each bus. There'll be 3 correction officers in each bus. They stopped for 1 day or 2 days medical transports, and now they should institute a chase car, a chase car to follow any type of prisoner transports, because that's how it should be done. That's the proper way to do it. Lieutenant Governor Patrick attended the Collins funeral and said the family was a strong Christian family. And guess what? They are a strong Christian family. He also mentioned, despite the circumstances, the funeral was amazing and inspiring to 4,000 people attending. Now, I want to tell you that right after this live stream ends, at 3:30, I have a premiere set. You guys are all going to be you guys are all that are here are going to be transitioned over to this premiere for the Collins funeral. I want you guys to please, if you have the time, it's 30 minutes long. Watch the Collins funeral. If you haven't seen it already, I'm begging you guys to go and watch this premiere that I have. There was 4,000 people that attended, but Mark Collins, his brothers, his son, the Collins family were just so strong and powerful. Mark Collins' brothers got up there and spoke so well. I'm gonna play it. It's scheduled on right after this live. It'll direct you. You don't even have to do anything. If you just stay here at the end, it's going to direct you right over to the premiere that's going to start at 3:30 p.m. So it's in 20 minutes. But the lieutenant governor basically told TDCJ. Now, the lieutenant governor is acting on behalf of the governor. Thank you, M. Finn. The lieutenant governor is basically saying, I want this Texas Department of Criminal Justice, I want to look at them with a fine tooth comb and see what the hell that they did and what the hell they did wrong. Right? After all this happened, Melanie Tieperman, because she was still going out, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. If I was home in my studio, I would play these things for you. But I have two videos of Melanie Tieperman going to the news. She actually went to the studio of her local news, and she kept speaking about this. She kept speaking about it from the rooftops, saying that TDCJ dismissed her, and they told her, I don't know who this lady is who has this video, and nobody's interviewed her. Nobody's even came to speak to her. So because of Melanie's persistence, and she was being persistent with it, going to the news, she went on News Nation, she went all over the place, and she kept putting it out there that the TDCJ is responsible for the death of these 5 Collins family members. And because of their lack of action, this thing was preventable. So because Melanie did this, the lieutenant governor made that request. The senator got the ball rolling. And guess what? Guess what? Thank you, Jenny. Texas Rangers came knocking on Melanie Tieperman's door. And they interviewed yesterday Melanie and Robert Tieperman. But they would have never came. The Texas Rangers would have never came if the lieutenant governor didn't make that request. And the lieutenant governor would have never made that request if Melanie Tieperman remained quiet. If you see something, say something, right? If Melanie Tieperman didn't blow the whistle on TDCJ and kept at it, if she cowered down and said, "Oh, I'm just going to be quiet about this," but she is a good American. She's a true American. She and her husband and her family and the people of Centerville are real American heroes because she didn't cower, she didn't waver, she didn't back down. She doubled down and she said 5 innocent people were slaughtered. No word on Summer. There's nothing additional on Summer Wells. 5 people were slaughtered, stabbed, and shot by Gonzalo Lopez. And she was not going to sit quiet. She did not sit quiet. And kudos to Melanie Tieperman and Robert Tieperman, because those are the heroes behind the Collins family. And when you watch this Collins family funeral, listen to what the brothers say. Listen to what Mark Collins' son says. Listen to what the pastor and the clergy says about the Collins family. They were good, all-American, wholesome people, God-loving people that didn't deserve this. Our law enforcement and TDCJ in Texas let all of the people of all Texans down and let all Americans down. And we can't forget that, because what they did is a travesty of justice. It was horrible, horrifying, horrific. You know, Gonzalo Lopez murdered those 5 family members, and we'll never know exactly how it happened, because the only ones that witnessed it are the 5 who are not here, and now Gonzalo Lopez was shot and killed by the police. And I don't think he would ever give up exactly how he did it, and they'll have to just rely on, the medical examiners and forensics to come up with some type of outline of how it happened. But that at this point is really, for me, is not really at the forefront. I really don't want to hear about that or even care to look into it. But what I care about is justice to be served, and the people at TDCJ need to be held responsible. Whoever made the decision not to notify the community, and if the local law enforcement knew about it and they didn't notify the community, they should be reprimanded and people should be fired because 5 civilians are dead. Gonzalo Lopez is dead. That's a good thing that Gonzalo Lopez is dead, but it's not a good thing that 5 innocent civilians were slaughtered. So, Mama Shishan, thank you. And listen, guys, anytime I talk about cases like this, I give it to you straightforward. There's no way for me to sugarcoat this and make this nice. You know, there's no way for me to make this nicey nice. This is how it has to be spoken about. This is how I have to talk to you guys about it. Because if I did speak to you any other way, I would be leading you guys down the wrong path, you know? So it's the facts, it's the harsh, gruesome facts, and we have to have these strong conversations because although I spent a career in law enforcement, I'm the first to call out bad decisions and bad things that have happened. You've listened to me talk about Uvalde and the police chief Arredondo. I say that he should be fired. I say he should be fired and locked up. And some would say to me, "Hey, that's a little harsh." But I feel that that guy should not be in law enforcement anymore, ever, because the decision that he made cost 21 people their lives. So I speak out about this stuff on a regular basis. When there's good and bad, I talk about the good. I love to highlight good work of police officers. And I hate to highlight the bad, but I do it because that we have to do that. That's part of our duty as civilians. We have to call it out as we see it. So the search continues for Dylan Rounds in Utah and Nevada, and the search is not going to stop. If you guys have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing to Crime Time with DutyRon. Please also, if you can, take the time out right now to give this a thumbs up. If you can become a channel member, consider becoming a channel member. If you can't, just simply subscribing and watching the videos in its entirety, that helps. That is part of supporting Crime Time with DutyRon. Go over on my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter and TikTok, all one word, DutyRon. Hit that subscribe button on all of those social medias. Again, in 10 minutes, there will be a Collins family funeral. It's 30 minutes. I encourage you to watch it. At the end, there is a beautiful, heart wrenching collage of photographs of all of the 5 victims. I'm telling you guys, it made me cry when I watched it live last Saturday. It's not even a week old. It made me cry when I watched it when I was putting it together. And right now it makes my voice crackle. I mean, I'm fighting back emotions thinking about that funeral and thinking about the things that were said about those beautiful souls who were lost. And when I watch the Uvalde funerals, it makes me just, I die inside every time I watch one of those funerals of those innocent, poor little babies. And that's why I'm so strong and so harsh against Arredondo, the police chief that was in charge of the schools, because he's responsible for the actions that happened and the inactions of the personnel that were on the ground there. So, uh, again, guys, I didn't, I try to separate my emotions from when I'm live talking to you guys, but sometimes I can't do that. And this is one of the moments. I'm gonna end this now because I feel like if I don't, I'm gonna be crying on you guys. So I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop here and now because I got to get back into my office and do my job. But I'm gonna be watching the Collins family funeral, and I implore and I hope that a good majority of you that are here right now will watch that video and will leave a comment for them and leave a comment for his son, Mark Collins' son, all three of his kids. Mark Collins, the grandfather, his son, and his wife, all three of his kids were murdered. He has no more kids anymore. And then the other son, one of his sons were killed by this Gonzalo Lopez monster. So go over and watch this video. Give them hearts, give them prayers. I'm going on vacation on Saturday. I'll be off the grid for a week, and I'm going to bring my camera, and obviously my phone with me. I'm going to take some beautiful pictures of the beaches in Aruba. I'm going to be away for a week with my wife, just her and I. So I'm not going to be on the air too much, maybe once or twice at nighttime. You know, when she goes to sleep, if I'm still up, I'll maybe fire up a live stream for you guys, maybe once or twice. But I'm going to be off the grid. I need to just disconnect, and this couldn't come at a better time. So again, I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. Thank you to everyone who's given super chats, who watches the replay, who gives the thumbs up, who subscribes, who engages and supports. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I thank you for being good people. We are all surrounded by good people here on Crime Time with DutyRon. This community is full of goodness. We're full of joy and wonderment and good things. And I'm just so honored, humbled, and proud to be around you guys. You know, we built this community together. And that's what I really love about you guys, is that you stick with me, you stick with us together through thick and thin. And Jackie, Jackie Vineyard, she does all the chapters for me. She's unbelievable. You know, Black Rose is there to moderate my Facebook groups and here on YouTube. And Joey Brooklyn, Director of Security, Dawn Marie. I could just go down the list. Rocky, all of these great people are around me, and I couldn't do it without you all. Richella, thank you. Thank you. Love wins. Heather, you guys are freaking awesome. So love and respect. Let's keep all of these guys and girls that we spoke about here. Summer Wells, let's keep her in our prayers. Let's get her found and get her brought home. Dylan Rounds, let's find this young man and all of the missing that are out there. All right, guys, love and respect from my house to yours. God bless the world. God bless the United States of America, and God bless each and every one of us here in the chat, but especially all victims of crime and their families. They need us now more than ever. And let's send special strength and prayers to the Collins family, the surviving family members that are left behind, and Dylan Round's mom and all of his extended family. They need us now more than ever. We'll see you soon. Thank you and good day. Don't forget to watch the funeral. It's coming up right after this. We'll be all redirected there. Thank you, guys. Love yous.